October 2nd, 2022 has witnessed one of the most brutal incidents in the world of football. Yes, in a place where people often go for fun to cheer their teams on, disaster has happened in Indonesia. It is on the verge of becoming one of the biggest sporting disasters in the history of this event. In the morning when it happened, over 175 people died during a football match in Indonesia. When their home team lost, thousands and thousands of angry home fans invaded the pitch. The match incident took place in the East Java city of Malang. The match took place between Arema FC and Persebaya Surabaya. Police responded with tear gas and that triggered a stampede. Apparently, according to police reports, 3,000 spectators invaded the pitch. And when two of their police officers got injured, at that time they resorted to tear gas, and that is what resulted in a stampede. It has been termed as the biggest sporting stadiums disaster in history. It was shocking, the visuals that happened. People were carrying other injured, and there was also police brutality that was seen, in which tear gas was fired at the fans. In all the melee and the bedlam, this happened. Over 175 people have been injured, have been killed, and apparently the death toll is going to increase a lot more. On expected lines, the entire football world was in shock. The La Liga has announced that today, before the start of the matches, there will be 1 minute silence observed. And FIFA has released a statement in which the football world is in a state of shock following the tragic incidents that have taken place in Indonesia. And FIFA President Gianni Infantino has really expressed his condolences to the entire Indonesian fraternity. Igor Strimak has also said that he is also saddened and shocked by the unfortunate news of so many football fans' death in Indonesia. Not just Strimak and FIFA, even Liverpool, Manchester United, Arsenal, Manchester City, all the major Premier League as well as majority of the European clubs have given out their condolences in tweets on their social media handles. It is a very unprecedented event that has happened in Indonesia, folks, and it is something which will disturb a lot of fans in the coming years. However, the incident in Indonesia is unfortunately not the first. In the history of football, when you have to look at it, there have been major stampedes and riots that have taken place all over the world. In this video, I am going to look back at all the major football stadium disasters that have happened. With some exceptions also, it has happened in India, it has happened all over the world. 1980, 42 years ago, the city of Joy witnessed a really deadly tragedy. During the derby game between Mohun Bagan and East Bengal at the Eden Gardens in Kolkata, 16 people died in a stampede and riot. Now, because of this, August 16th is being termed as Football Lovers Day. And that is why you see August 16th, whenever it happens, there will be Football Lovers Day. It happened in 1980, the derby match between Mohun Bagan and East Bengal, and that was a very, very tragic event. Now, even in France, 18 people died in a stadium collapse at Bastia's Furion Stadium. It happened in 1992, and the match was the French Cup semi-final between Bastille and Olympique de Marseille. The stadium, one part of the stadium, when there were a lot of people sitting, it collapsed. And that is why you see 18 people died in this. That is why, because of that incident happening on May 5, the French legislature had to pass a special law saying that no matches will ever take place on May 5, because it happened in 1992 in Bastia. There was also, Africa has been home to many, many unfortunate football incidents, folks. 19 people died in a stampede in March 2009 in Ivory Coast. It happened during the World Cup qualifier between Ivory Coast and Malawi. Perhaps one of the most deadliest football incidents happened in 1985 during the European Cup, which is now the Champions League, in the final. 39 people died in Heysel in Belgium, and the match was between Juventus and Liverpool. But the result of the match was overshadowed by the 39 deaths that happened in that Heysel stadium in Belgium. In a football game, unfortunately, outside elements, even nature can conspire to create a tragedy. It happened in Kathmandu, 1990, during a local club game. There was a hailstorm which happened. Panicked fans rushed towards the locked exits, and because of that, there was a stampede. 90 people died in that incident. And this happened in 1988. But perhaps the most tragic and the most talked about was the Hillsborough disaster. It happened in the FA Cup semi-final between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest. 98 people were killed in that because fans were crushed, because there was a standing provision. Lots of fans were crushed at the gates, and a lot of people spilled onto the pitch during that incident. And because of this, the Hillsborough disaster was the wake-up call that was needed to ensure fan safety would be practiced in all the major European grounds. The youngest victim, though, was a 10-year-old. He was the cousin of Steven Gerrard. And before the Hillsborough disaster, prior to that, 4 years earlier, there was a fire that happened in Bradford in a local third community match. In that, 56 people died because fire erupted in the stands in Bradford. And that is why 4 years after that, the Hillsborough disaster ensured that fan safety, stadium capacity and stadium facilities would be enhanced. But perhaps before the Indonesia disaster, the biggest disaster happened in Ghana, in Accra, at the main football stadium. Police had fired tear gas on rioting fans, and because of that, 126 people were killed. That time, it has been termed as Africa's worst football disaster. However, that happened a decade ago. Now, this unfortunate incident in the East Java city of Malang has ensured that this is now the biggest football disaster in history. Before everybody says that what were the other major incidents, there were other major incidents. As I had said, Africa, 43 people were killed in a football stampede which happened in Ellis Park in South Africa in 2001. It was a local South African division club game, but unfortunately the stampede there saw 43 people dying. In a World Cup qualifying game between Guatemala and Costa Rica in 1996, 82 people died in that stampede. So these were the other notable football incidents that happened in history. But today is an unfortunately very sad day, folks. Let us all pray and let us all offer the condolences to all the football fans that were killed in Indonesia. One hopes that there is never such a repeat. Thank you so much, folks, for listening to the special live. We'll be back with more updates from sports today. Press the like, comment and share button. We are also there on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, folks. Bye-bye.